Hello there and welcome to another exciting BeatStepPro segment. What you're hearing in the background is a bit of a drum machine that I have been working on for a while. Everything here from the BeatStepPro is driven to the Reactor. Alright, I'm using Reactor 6, and since they introduced the blocks, the new block features, I have kind of been thinking about how to make most of the drums for me. When it comes to drums, I have always been thrilled about getting the house rhythm, getting the house elements, getting the typical sounds. So one day I thought, let's get this bad boy running. And this is what we are going to do. Alright, boom, we are back. Wow, what you're seeing here is, well, hang on, before I get going, I'm gonna... There we go. I'm gonna reduce some noises. I hear that something is going on out there, so I don't wanna... yeah. Anyhow, let's go back to what we were going on about. Anyhow, so what you can hear in the background is a little sequencer that I built up from the BeatStepPro, triggering each of these drum modules. A bit of a technical thing here, alright, before we are going too deep into this. These are some standard drum modules that I have carefully chosen. And I'm gonna talk you through the process, why I picked them and how they are connected and how they are sort of collaborating with each other, because I have been thinking this one through pretty much, and I have also made some changes into these drum modules. Alright, let's start with the bass drum. As we can hear, the bass drum is it has a lot of bass. And I have actually combined two, the Nige kick and the Keith. I really like the Keith and the Nige. They produce different kind of temperatures, I would say, into this sound. And the Nige kick, it has kind of a very good kick. It gives a flash, so to say. It has really definition. It's the flash definition. And the Keith has more things to be playing around with. You can have a little bit of saturation. If we're hearing here, we are having some kind of more woody sound, and now it's getting more colorized. And that can be used. In my case, I used it. If we are going to the BeatStepPro, I mean, and I'm just gonna punch in the bass drum. We can, by adjusting the saturation a little bit. Now you can hear we're getting a thicker body, so to speak. And also on the pitch, I can pitch it up. And here I can also tune it. Now, as I said, we're having a more body to the sound. Alright, and that's not all. I wanted this to be more like the classic, the classic 808, 909 sound, but I also wanted to add my twist to it. So therefore, I choose the Logic Mix. The Logic Mix is a very convenient mixer module that comes, if I'm not mistaken, it comes with a Eurorack. Eurorack is a library that can be downloaded from the Reactor user forums, actually. That's a bit of a premium you get when you're buying the real deal, so to speak. But anyhow, why did I choose the Logic Mix? Well, the Logic Mix, like I said, can mix. It's actually mixing the Nige kick and the Keith kick together. And here you can choose how much juice, so to speak, how much energy I want to put in from the Nige kick and how much I want to put in from the Keith kick. And I can choose to have that one twice as much or one, twice as much or one. And I can even offset them a little bit to get some more, yeah, you get a less defined sound, or you get like a more natural sound in this. But I choose to have them go pretty, as you can hear, pretty knock on, so to speak. And if we're moving to the snare, this is a pretty sharp snare actually. I like this snare. We can also just type in to hear it. This is a typical snare used in many ways, in many, you know, typical house songs. But I also choose to have some definition, and I'm using the Nige snare and the Sydney snare, two very nice snare modules. And I have added a little saturator to it to kind of colorize the sound, to add some, if we're listening, you can have a little tail, and that tail is driven by Sydney, because Sydney has kind of Sydney, that module itself has kind of two drums in one. It has a noise, a bit of a noise, so you can, if we are playing with a noise, and that one is controlled here, I think, yeah, here. Now you have a long decay, and that is used to have more like an expression. I want to have a defined snare, which I'm getting from the Nige snare, but I also wish to have a little bit of natural, you know, a little bit of flavor to it. Because now this is just how the Nige snare is sounding like. And now I can have a little bit more of personality, so to speak, to the sound. And as I said, it also has a little bit of wood into it. You can hear it has a bit of wood. You get that boom boom, that little resonant thing. And to give it a bit more spice, to make it more like personal, I added the saturator, and we're gonna talk about the saturator a little bit here, okay? The saturator, what it is doing, it's actually mixing. It works a little bit like the Logic Mix here, which I use for the kick drums. But in this case, I didn't want to have like the hard mix of two snares, because the snares, when I added the hard mix, so to say, I kind of lose the flavor, I lose the definition, I lose the looseness, so to speak, the tail that I said I was getting from Sydney here. And the best way, I figured out, the best way is to use the saturator. And I opened up the saturator and added some things to it. And also made it more, I remodeled it, so to speak. So I made it a bit, I took a template and I improved it, so to speak. That is what we who are developing modules for Reactor, we love when people do that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna release it one day. It's not stable yet. But anyhow, so the saturator is working a little bit like the saturator in the kick drum here. But what it does also, it's mix the Nige snare and the Sydney snare together. But it doesn't do the 50-50 mix or 20-70 mix or whatever mix you want. It also adds a little bit of color to the sound. can hear now we are getting more definition from NG snare, NG snare, or whatever it's called. But now we are getting more noise, which is coming from Sydney here. I think that kind of gave me what I wanted, so to speak. All right, but we have the kick and we have the snare. That kind of is cool, but there's more to drums. So here we go. If we are looking here, we have the hat. This is a standard closed hat, and the closed hat it's just a closed hat, and I found this hat module, so to speak, and it worked fine. And this one is open. What I really did was I put two of the instance. I made two instances of the same. One has a little tiny length here, and one has more length to give it to, yeah. You see, and I also made a little thing. I'm going into that one later. Into the gate operator, I made so. Yeah, you cannot have them played at the same time, then it will get shot, like how a real hi-hat is working. And we have an open, we have a symbol here, and why I choose this symbol is because it has tunes, you can tune it, and you have a decay and tone, so you can change the color and the width. But I think this is, yeah, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, you get the jazz, alright. And each drum set, in my opinion, needs a rim. A rim shot is very nice, and I also choose this module because you can tune it, you can add some weight to it, get really hard rim shot, you know, when the drummer is, you know, having some stomach acids or anything, you know, just giving it a good tuck, so to speak. But I want to have it a little bit suitable there. And here we can change the pitch, the Smurf rim, or the real deep rim. It depends on the flavor, but this is my style. And I also wanted to add some more flavor to this rim shot, so I added an amp plus. What the amp plus is doing, it's amplifying the rim shot in this case a little bit, but it also add an envelope to it, so it has like a release, sustain, decay, and attack, and it also has the bend feature and the velocity. And if we are listening here, you can hear that the harder I press the BeatStepPro, the harder the sound will get, and that is controlled by this. But I also made a little modification here. The harder I press, the less distortion it will get from the tube. Yeah, because there is a little red tube added to it, and that is just to make it a bit personal. I want to have like a little more grit to it, so to speak. And the next module here is Clave. I love the Clave in the drum. If we're just playing a little bit here. Yeah, you get it. And this you can add the crisp. You can add the tuning to it, or you can add the decay to get it really long. It's like when you're holding the clave in your hand. If you're opening the hand, it will get a longer ring, so to say, the decay. And this module also has rim shot, but for some reason I thought this rim was better, and I also want to have them individual. But also, a drum set for me is to have a typical clap. And this one, I love this clap. It has nice crisp and it has a long tail. But to add a little bit more spice to it, again I add an VCA. And yeah, I just did it because I wanna have the possibility to mix it in so it doesn't take over. You don't wanna have the clap ringing like a fresh from your, you know, like a fresh from on the cheek from someone. Anyhow, we are moving on and we're coming to the fancy cowbell. This one I liked just out of the box, so I didn't do anything to the Niji cowbell. No, it's lovely. And of course we want to have toms, and I wanted to have 3. So what I did, I just made 3 different instances of them. One is tuned do do do, yeah, high, mid, low, and the high one has a little bit more decay on it because I felt it gives the sound that I was looking for better definition. And the mid, I don't want to have, like, you know, the mid frequencies are kind of nasty, so I didn't want to get a nasty ringing sound in the mid range. So the tom here, the low one, I want to have it, you know, a little bit push, so you feel that if you have like a little drum going like this, you have the final one, it kind of, you know, compensate the rubber effect, so to say, from the bass drum in this case, or kick drum actually. So like I said, everything is controlled from the BeatStepPro. There's nothing fancy about that. At the moment it's a bit tricky here because I have to lift it up, but that is no problems. We can just see that everything is going well, and I have pre-made some patterns here. So you can see that the BeatStepPro is controlling Reactor like this also. And here we can see yeah, so all in all, I'm really happy about how everything turned out with this little playground, so to speak. But how did I make everything possible? I mean, this is probably looking very, very natural, very logic to some people, but some are like, oh man. And now we're gonna relieve or reveal actually the secrets of this. So if we are just turning it like this, I know it's a bit small to see, but it doesn't matter. If we are looking at the kick drum here, this I set, so the kick drum is getting drived actually from, like I said, and the MIDI CC or the gate port from the BeatStepPro. So that one is going in here to the NG kick and keys, like I said. And here we can see, I mean, that or maybe you can see it better now. I'm not sure how. It's a bit. It's not the sharpest, but I can zoom in a little bit like this. Okay. I'm gonna try. Anyhow, if someone know good, you know, screen capturing program, you know, help me out, man. Okay. But here we can see that the NG kick is coming here and it's going into this logic mixer, and actually I am running it through another mixer here, and that mixer is also taking an input from the cowbell, because I have like a four input mixer here, there, yeah. Because I want to also, that's one thing. Oh, I should actually, if we are going back to like full screen here, if we are listening to the sequence, like this. I can mute the bass drum and the cowbell, and now the hats are muted, and now we're just listening to the toms and the snare, and now the drum and the cowbell. So this is also cool because you can mute this. Yeah, so that was just a little bit. I just wanted to show you how it's made with the mixer board as well. And then we are seeing that we have this one. This is actually no, that one. This one is actually controlling keys. And why is that? Well, in some case you want to have like a little. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but in making, if we are looking at, you can see here's the real kick, so to speak. But this one sounds a little bit lower. Why did I do that? Well, it's very simple. Because I like to have a little bit of, you know, ghost kicks, so to say. I like to call them that. So you get a little nice, like a train effect, or how you will say. So you get in this case a little bit of Keith as well, but you get it not 100%. You get it in this case 50% or 20%. So yeah, and that is, like I said, you can have this, and that sound is actually that one. It's the ghost drum kick. So I like that. It's okay. Be creative. Do whatever you want. That's also one way to put it. And if we're coming down to the snare, there isn't much fancy about the snare. You can see it's controlling the Niger snare and the Sydney snare, and everything, like I said earlier on, it's going from out to in to the saturator, and it's also going to the mixer, and the out is going to the second channel of the mixer board. And this is the hat, and the other hat. Not so much. I could of course kick in like a reverb or delay or whatever after clang effect I want to have after here. But also I think that since we are using this little beauty and these, I can also have Reactor send them out as different channels. So if I am running Reactor inside my favorite DAW, I can also make use of like 8 out or 16 out. So then these channels are mapped as 1, 2, 3, 4, etc, etc. So again, it's all about how you're thinking, how you are structuring things up. And here we go. We have the open hat going there. I'm sorry, the cymbal here. Nothing fancy there. But the rim, like I said, it's going to the amp plus, and it's also controlled by the gate. So whenever it's like retriggered. And why did I do the retriggering thing there? Well, it was because else this amp plus would have been like a bit, so to say, hanging out, flipping out. It would not reset itself, which would lead to mistones from the rim, and that we don't want. We want to have a definition, and whenever the envelope starts, it should be triggered from the gate here, so it is synchronized with the rim, else you can get some nasty artifacts. And now we are moving on to the clave, and the clave is nothing fancy down here either. It's just the way it is, and I could of course add some, you know, fancy stuff to this. But in this case, this is it. That's it. And the clap, like I said, is driving the VCA and just going into the mixer. and then we are having the uh, the cowbell. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit lost here. Well, that's also one thing. I should really label this, but as I have just, you know, worked them out, I kind of know what is what. But sometimes you have to think twice before you are opening your mouth, so to speak. Actually, this is actually the cowbell. I can tell you. I can see it now because it has a purple symbol there. All right, but the cowbell, nothing fancy about the cowbell. It's just doing what it is doing. And the same for the toms. They are working fantastically good. Alright, so like I said, this has been... I have been working on this ensemble for quite a while, and I've been really wanted to understand things. How are things working? How to use which modules in what ways. So this has been a really good lesson for me as well to learn how Reactor is working. And don't be afraid or what is it called? Don't be afraid actually to, you know, dive into this, because it's not that hard. Even if we are, you know, looking up the panel module and the process modules, everything is kind of logic here. It's, yeah, and that is probably easy for me to say, because I have been working with hardware drum machines since like 20 years or something like that, so I know the inside of them. I know the circuits, how every little piece is working, and that is really nice, because that's one really strong weight point in Reactor, especially in Reactor 6, because now we can have, like I said, if we are now we can have like a graphic display of everything working like you're doing in your kind of modular world. You can have each of these, you know, these spider nests or whatever you want to call them, with wires and blocks and everything. You can have them in some fancy looking graphical components, which I think is very nice, and everything is really easy laid out. Also, when you are setting up an ensemble, if you are importing the kick, or you are, yeah, you get like the kick in this module, and everything is kind of lined up for you. Here you have the gate, you have the modulation A and B, because you have like one A and one B mode, and also an out mode. You know actually the out. Yeah, that's the sound of it, and the sound needs to be connected into something that can replay it. Normally it's just going straight to out. Yeah, but like I said, what is looking really crazy, I mean, yeah, when I first started to work with Reactor, I was really afraid to get into it, but as more as I looked into it, and here we can see that you have, if you this is just like an example. I'm not sure if you can see, but you get the point here. Here they are simulating the 15K resistor, for instance, and you have like a diode, and you have all kind of beautiful things. So like I said, just going into the kick here, you can go into the process. You can see that when the gate is coming in here, you have like an A latch going there, and you have the manual gate, you have the velocity sense here, and you have a modulator that is driven by a demuxylator and yeah. I don't want to go too deep into this, but this drum module, actually speaking about the Nudgy kick, has been really thought through. It emulates everything, so it's not a sample, it's emulating what you're hearing. But also, I took this a little bit further on, and let's show you, if you really want to be creative, let's show you what you can do then. Boom, we are back. Let's give this one a shot. In this example, I mean, I added an LFO, and the LFO is driving from the clap. It's driving the VCA, so you get that little. Let's see, where is the clap? You get a little variation how loud it's going to be played, and also the rim. Sorry, there. The rim, I said, also has variation. I put a little variation on the pitch and the weight, and also the attacks and the output. And this was a little bit clever, because if you're having more attack, you have a higher output. So I thought about that a little bit, how to make it. And why would you want to do this? Well, it's pretty easy. The LFO, it's an oscillator driving things, so you can get more variation in your sound. So I hope that this has been useful for you guys, and if you want to see more and you want to hear something specifically, you know, did I miss something, did it go fast here and there, want to have more like a diver perspective of things, leave some comments. You know, I live by the comments, and don't be shy. And also, I'm asking you guys, please give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Share it with your friends, and I hope to see you guys in another one. Bye!